Sunnyside. This is Sydney Hurd coming here again, just sharing some things with you that I think perhaps you just might want to know, or some things I'd like for you to know. I'm going to start off sharing something, first of all, about summer camp. I found out that there's going to be an expo camp, a summer camp, and the registration opens really today on April the 22nd at 9 a.m. The cost for this summer camp is $100 per week. Now, there are scholarships available for $25 with proof of income. The dates of this camp is from June the 12th to August the 9th. The time is from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., and it includes field trips. There are limited scholarships available for families that make $91,000 or less, but you must have proof as you're submitting your application. Okay? Just making you aware of some possibilities. Now, at the same time, I haven't heard what Sunnyside's summer camp is going to be like, but again, just do know that there tends to be a summer camp here at Sunnyside as well. So as the information becomes available, I will be sure to share it with you. Okay. Attention, City of Los Angeles business owners. If you've been in business for at least 20 years, you can apply for the new City of Los Angeles Legacy Business Program. Access exclusive resources that support and celebrate your business. It promotes your business, receives some technical assistance. You have access to grants as well as loans. So to receive access to capital and support your business, you need to apply for this for free today. Go online to bit.ly/capital LA Legacy. Okay, or you can Google LA City Business Legacy Program. Again, if you've been in business at least 20 years, this might be something you may want to consider. Earth Day. Earth Day. By the time this gets out, it may be over, okay? But during Earth Day, transportation through the metro system is free. I was made aware as I was listening to Dominique DePrima on KBLA 1580 AM that we as a people really are concerned. We show our concern about things that are happening environmentally, okay? Oil wells that are active, okay? We're concerned then about polluters, really the oil polluters. And oftentimes when corporations exit an area, they tend not to clean it up. And one of the things that you need to be aware of is that it really impacts our community. It really impacts our community. So we, as a people, really tend to be concerned about the environment. Environmentally speaking, there's another program, City Plants. City Plants. You can get up to 7 trees delivered to you. Okay, the City of Los Angeles residents are eligible to receive free trees from City Plants to plant in your yard and in your parkway. Visit City Plants webpage or call 213-473-9950. Again, cityplants.org. You may go online to check that out. Trees save energy by shading your homes and buildings and allowing air conditioners to use less kilowatt hours and to keep our homes and businesses comfortable. Okay, so you may they may become more effective also on saving energy as trees age. Just be aware. City plants, okay? 213 473 9950 or cityplants.org. There have been some things that have been happening, okay? And my goodness, the Lord is just letting us know He doesn't need our help, okay? He's in charge. There's been a total eclipse since I last spoke with you. That took place on April the 8th. The one that I remember, the last one that I remember, took place on August 21st, 2017. While we were on one of our RV outings, okay, I remember getting up around 4 a.m. in the morning and walking outside, and there were people standing around looking up, okay? And I really can't tell you where in the world we were. I just know we were here in the States because we were in our RV. But we did get a chance to experience a total eclipse, and you had to have those glasses. Now, when I heard that there was going to be one coming, it made me wonder, what had I done with those glasses? And my house is one where you just really can't find anything. The Lord works in mysterious ways. I actually reached down and brought up those glasses. Actually brought up those glasses that was used during the total eclipse. And I wanted to ask the church, do you know when the last eclipse was? Only reason I knew it was because it was printed on the glasses. And again, it was August the 21st, 2017. Okay? So when I actually found the glasses, I shared them at church. And on Monday, I went outside and I looked toward the east, and I could see the beginning of the eclipse. I could really see the beginning of the eclipse. And they told you, now don't stare at the sun, don't look up with the naked eye because it would damage your eyes. So I put these glasses on and I looked up and I could actually see the beginning of the eclipse, okay? You could see the sun and you could see the head of the moon just creeping up. All right, it was just really fascinating to see. All right, so since I was at home on my deck and I was fascinated, one of my neighbors was coming out of her house and she was giving instructions to her gardener. And I called out and asked her, I said, May, do you want to see the eclipse? Did you know there's an eclipse going on? And she was just literally fascinated. I said, well, don't look up. I said, I have these special glasses and I'll bring them over so you can see. So I walked across the street and I must tell you, May is a minister. She looked up, and she just started praising God. It's just amazing the way looking up at God's creation impacted different people. And she was just saying she could just stand there and just preach a sermon as she was just staring at what God had just done. She was just simply thrilled, okay? That was one neighbor. And I'm one of those people, when I get excited about something and I think it's something that you really need to be aware of, I just can't be selfish and just not share. So after May and her excitement and her wanting to give a sermon, I headed on back across the street, and I noticed my neighbor, who I guess Dee was about maybe 10 years old when we became neighbors. And I saw a couple of their cars still in the yard. So I was bold enough, I went over and I rang the doorbell, and his wife came out. And I asked her if she was aware that an eclipse was taking place. Now, we had heard about the total eclipse, but at the same time, there's just one sun. There's just one moon, okay? And I know in one of my sessions, I knew of people who were going back east so that they could actually experience the total eclipse. But again, right here in LA, you could really see it as long as you have the glasses. So my neighbor Paulette came on out, and I said, "Girl, look up." And she was thrilled at what she saw. So she called her daughter Sydney outside so that she could see it as well. Okay, so that was sharing with at least 3 neighbors. All right, so I went on back in the house, and it was something that lasted a little while. So I came back out, and again I could see how the sun, how the moon was moving still. Okay, and I realized, well, just a couple of weeks ago, we had a community thing where the neighbors were invited to come out and meet one another. So there was this neighbor that was across the street. I saw his car in the yard. So I went and rang his doorbell, and you could hear them saying, "Well, leave a message." And my message was, "There's a total eclipse going on out there now, and I have some glasses if you'd like to experience it." And next thing I knew, that neighbor came out. And he was saying, "I told my kids, make sure you pay attention today." His kids had their glasses, and they were at school. And I said, "Well, I have my glasses if you want to look up and see it again, but don't just stare at the sun, because I understand it'll harm your eyes." And he looked at it, and he was thrilled. He was fascinated as well. Okay, so that was about 4 neighbors. Then I went on across the street on back home again. And again, you couldn't see, the sun looked the same here, but it was getting like closer to noon. And I came back out and looked up, and I could see how it was still moving, it was still progressing. Okay. And finally, I thought about my neighbor Jackie. Now, Jackie was the lady who gave us, one of my first sessions, she was telling us how to use the information from voting to organize it so that we could make the best decisions when it was time to vote. Jackie wasn't home, but her cousin had just driven up. So again, I had to just go across the street again with my little glasses and asked him, his name is Sammy. I had to ask Sammy, "Do you want to see the eclipse?" He said, "Oh, yeah, okay." So he took the glasses and looked up, and he had a chance to see it as well. But again, there are some things that are just so unusual that you just really feel selfish if you don't share. Okay? So this was just one of those things I just had to share with at least 5 of my neighbors. And I'm going to put these little shades aside so that hopefully, again, they will appear at the right time. Okay. This morning, before coming here to tape this segment, I decided I'd give a call to one of our former pastors. Her name is Reverend Carolyn Cooks. She was a pastor here at Sunnyside, I think maybe about for some 10 years. But again, she was the pastor during a time when female ministers were really not encouraged to stand in the pulpit and preach, okay? And by the time she left, okay, things had kind of changed. Things had somewhat changed. So after Pastor Cooks left, we had an interim pastor who happened to be a female as well, okay? And I'm telling you this because I found out that Pastor Cooks now has a book out, and it is called, the name of the book is The Call, God's Daughters Empowered to Serve with Love and Compassion. It's put out by KP Publishing, and you can get it through Amazon. The cost of the book is $14.95. So I called her this morning before coming here to just ask her really about her book. And she was saying that she started out initially thinking about writing, about females, but then it just ended up being a book of encouragement. And a book on faith. And she started talking about, just the love of God. And as it turns out, she really wanted it to be a very easy read. And she wanted us to know, Sunnyside too, that it's a book then that was really written from her heart. So I would encourage you to get the book by Reverend Carolyn A. Cooks. The name of the book is The Call. The Call. And you may want to even just call a library and ask the library if they happen to have that book on hand. I know when I was urging us to get another book about the fifth little girl, I asked at the library. And they thank me because they want to get books in by minorities. They want to get books by black writers, okay? But again, The Call by Reverend Carolyn Cooks, KP Publishing, and you can order it on Amazon or check with your local libraries. In closing, just do know that the Alabama in me, okay? When I think in terms of Alabama, I think in terms of voting. And one of the things I've seen written online recently was, vote like our democracy is on the line. Because it is. Because it is. And again, there must be something really special about our voting, because people seem to be working really hard to suppress our vote. So since I'm a quilter, I just grabbed one and I'm just going to share this. And it says, many of the rights and privileges we now enjoy came about because of the sacrifice of others. Homes were bombed, churches were bombed, black children killed. Voter suppression is real, okay? And then I have some states listed: Texas, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, and I left out Alabama, okay? But again, make sure you have a plan to vote and encourage somebody else and let them know that your life is not on the line now. All you have to do is fill out a form and mail it in. Praise God. Thank you so much for your attention.